can know that you are meant for more and yet still feel completely stuck in your life or frustrated or even unable to move forward on your goals. In this episode of The Expansion Room, I am joined by spiritual coach, master healer, and author Cheryl Stelte to explore why awareness alone does not always create transformation and how the subconscious energetic blocks can quietly shape our lives without us knowing about it. If you have done mindset work, therapy, spiritual practices of any kind, and still feel something is holding you back, then this conversation will help you to understand what is happening beneath the surface and how true change actually occurs. So let's dive in. Hello and welcome to the Expansion Room, where inner work meets impact. I am your host, Shervon Laurice, and today Cheryl Stelte is joining me, and I'm looking very much so forward to this conversation. Cheryl, welcome to the show.
Oh, Shervon, you're a woman after my own heart. Thank you so much for all that you bring to the world, and especially to women today as we all grow and evolve. I just love what you're doing and honored to be a part of it today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to have you today. I would love for you, because we got a chance to speak a few weeks ago, and I would love for you to share with the audience a bit about yourself and what brought you to doing this kind of work in the world.
Well, I was telling you, I've known a number of psychologists, psychotherapists, and I always often love those people and really enjoy psychology. And when I first started on my journey of personal growth and really helping myself, I had a number of people reach out to me. They could see the rapid changes in me and they wanted what I had. And can you teach me? I was meditating, I got into practicing shamanism. And so I would help people and lead meditations and that sort of thing. And then people would say, you're a healer, you're a teacher, you're a spiritual teacher. And I would say, oh no, I have enough trouble helping myself, let alone helping others. There is no way I will ever do that, as a way to earn a living or a purpose. And so I did it part-time for years. And, I had a rapid start to my spiritual journey. My deceased brother's spirit, I'll make a long story short, came and visited me on a beach one day. And it was just so transformative. And his message to me was to start meditating. Little did I know it was to help me get over my own severe depression. And the inner journey has been so much about the subconscious. And so today, 32 years later, I'm able to hold people through any and all of their pain, whether it's sexual abuse, whether it's neglect, which is a horrible type of trauma, ongoing neglect, especially in early childhood, which so many of us have experienced in ways we didn't recognize.
That's right. But it always comes up in how we partner and be in relationship with someone else.
Exactly. Yeah. So after studying and practicing multiple modalities and developing my own Azaria's energy healing certification program, it seems I'm really working with women today, specifically mature women who've done a lot of personal work, very spiritual. They already meditate. I'm not getting the beginners anymore. They don't even end up sitting in front of me, and people who are desperate for change, they know that everything they've done has served them, but there's still another layer. There's still a deeper layer to get through, and it's so deep in the subconscious. And that's what I help people with, are the deepest layers of the subconscious.
Yeah, there you go. one of the things that we've talked about on this show in several episodes at the end of last year, at the beginning of this year, is insight. Because, there are a ton of self-help books, there are blogs, there are websites that lead us into deeper insight about ourselves.
Yes.
And who we are, and the traumas and the experiences that we've had in the past. And often people get to these wonderful places within themselves where they are super aware or have really deep insight into who they are and what got them to the place that they're in. But insight alone, right, or awareness alone does not necessarily heal. It does not necessarily get us on the other side. And so one of the things that is part of what I do is help people get to the other side. And so I'd love to hear from your point of view and from your work, why does awareness and or insight alone so often fail to create lasting change for people?
Right. Well, the first thing it does is it satisfies the brain. Oh, now I know. Now I know what happened. Now I know why I am the way I am. Now I know why these patterns keep popping up for me, but it doesn't heal the patterns.
Yeah.
We need to heal the patterns. So there needs to be a method. It makes me think of this woman I've started working with, and I always start with a chakra reading. So I've developed the capacity to be able to see energy, and then I do readings for people, and they always say, wow, that was so validating. Wow, you were bang on. And I just started working with this woman who is a professional. She has her own business, her own coaching business. And at the end of the reading, she said, this is what so many psychics have been telling me. So I didn't know she's going to all these psychics. She's getting the same information, but she hasn't healed. So then we do her first session, 1 session out of 10. We do the first one, and she couldn't believe it. This is the missing piece. This is the missing work, because I helped her access her subconscious in ways and to a deeper level where nobody else could. And this is key. It's about releasing the trapped, the stuck, the held emotions, the repressed emotions that we could not feel as toddlers, as children, because often what happens with little developing humans, they just get confused in trauma. And when we first started going in, I remember her first emotion, she said, I just feel cold and disconnected. It's numbness, which is actually a feeling, because we learn to shut off. We learn to shut down, which is actually a feeling. And so to allow one to feel that, then we can go to the deeper layers and release them. And it's about, my method is, and we can talk about my method if you would like, but it's really about breathing through with a long, full breath, because that changes the brain function. And so that's where the healing takes place. It's kind of like in EMDR, you have the little thing, pardon my lack of a descriptive word. I've tried EMDR, but the timer thing, or the eye movement, it's similar with that. But for me, it's very much about staying with the emotions, because it's the emotions that get trapped that we couldn't, that are in there for a lifetime. I had a client text me this morning and who said, I can't remember, she's 58 years old, can't remember when I slept 9.5 hours. She slept 9.5 hours after her session. She said, I never sleep more than 7.5, maybe 8, but it's going to these places. So the awareness helps, but the awareness will never, ever, ever cover what's the emotions that are held in the subconscious.
That's right. And so they need to be brought to the surface, and they need to be released.
That's right. They need to be processed, released to a certain extent, because they cover up the truth of our being. They cover up who we truly are,
Yep.
our own deeper inner knowing, you
Yes.
know, what our soul came here to accomplish, to
Yep.
be,
Yep.
and and so it's so transformative. So yeah, you don't get the
Absolutely.
transformation with awareness only or insight.
Right. Right. And this helps them to bring about embodied transformation, right? It's like they release what needs to be released and then they can embody who they really are.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
beautiful.
alignment and embodiment, yes.
Exactly. All right. And so there are still patterns, right, that people have held on to all their lives. Like we create for ourselves survival patterns or just patterns in general based on the rhythms that we see or experience in our lives. And in the work that you do, are you able to also help people to see what their patterns are? And because for some people it becomes a habit, right? Even if they release what needs to be released, they're so used to doing the same things the same way. And so, how do you go about helping them to release some of those patterns of behavior as well?
Yeah, well, I think of the patterns as neural pathways in the
Mm-hmm.
brain. And so patterns have developed. So we keep following this unknowingly. It's hard to
Yes.
see our patterns, or we may see our pattern in hindsight. So having various practices really helps. But what
Mm-hmm.
happens is when we have deep enough release, and then we discover who we truly are, and we learn how to reprogram the brain, we get
Mm-hmm.
off those old neural pathways, the highways, those ingrained patterns that are developed, and we start to develop new neural pathways. And so all my clients get homework, they get these meditations to help reprogram the subconscious to develop new neural pathways so we don't resort to the old. And
Mm-hmm.
when we're talking about patterns today, I usually don't talk about and haven't given as much thought to as I do today our collective patterns, our collective, humanity as a whole, how we move into fear. Oh
Yes.
goodness, we are so driven by
Yes.
fear. And I remember being in my 30s and would recognize, oh, I'm making a pattern based in fear or making a choice based in fear. Oh, I need to breathe through the fear. So I became an expert at breathing through the fear. It's like, oh, there's that
Yes.
fear. So it was just one pattern that I learned to recognize. So the awareness, the
Mm-hmm.
insight helped, but I would sit myself down and feel the fear fully and breathe through it. And then I could
Yes.
embody calmness, peace, and then make a choice. And the
Yes.
choice was always different than what I would have made, but it involved the release of that fear that's so ingrained in all of us. And
Yes.
so it's developing, it's learning new skills so that we can recognize the patterns or that we sort of override them before they even come up. And that's
Yes.
developing the new neural pathways, developing new patterns that are more in
Yes.
alignment with who you truly are.
Amen. That is such a beautiful thing that you shared about being able to sit with and breathe through the fear. Because I think people believe, especially leaders, that they have to move after the fear is gone, right? They have to get rid of the fear in order to do a thing. And the reality is, fear is a natural part of the human experience. What we need more is exactly what you're explaining there, is to notice it coming up, breathe through it, allow it to move through us so that we can make the kinds of decisions we need to make
Or take the action.
or
And
take
so
the action we need to take. Yeah.
sometimes there's something I need to set a really strong, healthy boundary with
Yeah.
somebody, or I need to take some action that is nerve wracking that can involve some fear. And sometimes I might, if the stakes are high, whatever it is, it might involve, oh, I'm feeling scared. Well, it's normal. And so I'll breathe through it. And then as soon as I think of it again, boom, it's right there again. I'll breathe through
Yeah.
it. And then it's just a matter of, okay, I'm doing this anyway. And
Amen. Yes.
hold the space for myself. It's okay. No, you're more than your fear. You're all these
Absolutely.
other things, and it's to stay in alignment with the pattern that I can stand up for myself when required, that I can speak my truth, that I can
Yeah.
ask to be heard in a new way, whatever it is, and
Absolutely.
and just take that step and see what happens. And who
Yeah.
knows? You never know. And then the fear goes away. Then it's gone.
Yeah, it does. What's so wonderful is when you do that, you're teaching your central nervous system that safety can be found even there. You know? Yeah.
And when you mention safety, it makes me think of the root chakra, which is the primary purpose of the root chakra is for us to feel safety and stability. And it's developing that to a level in our lives that we know we can take on anything, and that eventually moves into trust and faith. So a lot of people may have the safety and stability, but not to the level of trusting themselves, the universe, the divine source, the creator, whatever you want to say, and having faith in all our circumstances, having faith that everything is an opportunity to learn and grow through, as challenging as that is at times.
It is. But that is, the challenges are what help us to expand. And so, wonderful, wonderful. When you're working with these high functioning women, and some of them are also leaders, I'm imagining, where does spirituality, come in? A lot of your work is spiritual by nature, but for some people, I've definitely worked with clients over the years who are like, don't bring me any of that woo-woo stuff.
First off, I'll say I don't get those people anymore. I
That's
absolutely.
good.
They don't come to me, they don't find me, and it's okay. It's
There you go.
okay. But what I do find with my clients who are already spiritual and are very open, is they want to know more about their spirituality. They want, I help people learn to become their own energy workers. I teach them how
Beautiful.
to feel energy. I help them develop their psychic abilities. I help them develop their intuition. My work used to be so much about healing and empowerment, and it's just becoming so much more because I have such a varied background.
Yeah.
And I find that teaching these skills, especially for women in business, that they make better choices for themselves and can see into their business with psychic ability, that they can see what they never used to be able to see, and that they can recognize, oh, how are their personal patterns playing out in their business patterns? Because it's always the case. We are our businesses, even if you're, a corporation and you're at the top,
Absolutely.
the patterns will ring through. And so
Absolutely.
to do the personal work at a high level, or you could say at the deepest level possible, and let that spread throughout the business. I have witnessed businesses transforming in a matter of weeks, like just changing from night to day, just through personal change,
Yeah.
because it can ripple out, and then they see how their own pattern has played out in the business, and they say no more, and they make the changes, and boom, the business is growing or shrinking if they wanted it to, or
Right,
shifting
right.
in some way. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. How do rather the subconscious energetic blocks form? And why are they so persistent that even people who have come to therapy, and I've definitely experienced it with some folks where they've come to me and have gone through several therapists before me, you know? And so why do those energetic blocks form? And how is it that they can persist in such a way?
Yes, it's such a good question, and I'm grateful to answer that question today, because when I first started doing this work, more seriously for others, that answer wouldn't have come. It just wasn't there from a science perspective. But now science has proven that trauma is imprinted in the right side of the brain through physical sensations and emotions, not through linear memory. So many people are afraid to remember their childhood. Oh, I don't remember my childhood and I don't know if I want to. And whether you have any memories or not, the trauma is in there, physical sensations and emotions, because, like I said earlier, we hold on to the emotions that we couldn't feel. We store them in the body. And so it's a matter of having somebody help you, and it usually requires help at the very least in the beginning to help you learn to access. So it's going into the subconscious. And if we don't do the work, if we don't get in there and have these types of releases, and then equally important are the reprogramming of the subconscious. Your inner child will always have the insight of who you truly are, how you're meant to feel as you live your life, and how you're meant to express yourself. So it stays with us forever. I have clients in their 70s and 80s that it's just like, I'm so done with this.
Yes.
And so science has proven that the linear memories from trauma are never linear. They're always fragmented. We will only ever remember pieces. And one of the problems I will say with EMDR, I've tried EMDR, they try and help you or not all practitioners, but I've had two, and they try and help you recreate the scene. Who's there with you? Create the memory, but the trauma, the right brain's not remembering that. The right brain's stuck in the emotion. So I would encourage, and I feel a little to say this, anyone out there doing EMDR, who is this woman? But science has proven now it really is stored through the emotions and the physical sensations, and the memories are not that important. So if one of my clients goes off on this memory, I see this and I don't know who's there, the left brain is going to want to fill in the blanks, and it's a waste of time. It pulls you out of healing. It pulls you out of the subconscious. So to stay in the subconscious, stay with the full breath, release the emotions, and allow the body to do the rest. And
because it is a wonderful creation, the body. It can do the work, but we have to actually go in and allow.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So that role of early life experiences, trauma, emotional suppression, it all plays a role in keeping those or developing those blocks, almost like calcium.
Yes.
Right? Kind of blocks certain things. It can block arteries. It can block, we talk about it in plumbing, we talk about it in other spaces, but it kind of builds up and calcifies and blocks.
Exactly. And the way I see it, when I do readings on people, I can see all your blocks. And I can also...
I might have to schedule a session with you.
Let's do one. But I also see where all your light is flowing well, because we are energetic beings. It's proven.
That's right.
We have thousands of energetic pathways. So I look at the chakras, I can look at your field, I gain insight for you, and I can let you know what all your superpowers are, where you're strong. I can tell you right now, I can tell if you pray or not, if you pray well. I can see all sorts of things, and then I see where your blocks are. And so those are all your learning curves. Those are all the doors that are waiting to be opened to allow the energy to flow again. You're just stopped there. You're stagnant. And so those are all the learning experiences that your soul signed up for. But yeah, it's a lack of energy actually. It's blocked, it's black. It's black and light.
Wow. Beautiful. And so for folks who are working with you over those number of sessions and they're letting go of these pieces that they have that have been blocking them for a long time, that energy flows, that energy begins to move, and they're able to move about their lives in ways that maybe they couldn't have even imagined, I imagine, right?
Exactly. And often, this woman yesterday, two of my clients yesterday, in one set, they're just like texting me, I can't believe this. I can't believe how different I feel. I've never had this before, and it takes a few sessions and then they get the hang of the work. And then we're just together for 10 weeks. And then there's a final chakra reading. And then they can do it themselves. And
I think that's a beautiful thing you offer. So that they don't have to feel like they're constantly tethered.
No.
Right? To you to do something for them. They realize they are their own healer.
Yes.
They are their own guide.
That's right. And to me, it really becomes a lifestyle, part of a lifestyle, so to speak, because as long as we're growing, we're always challenged. And so it's learning how to process and keep growing and keep evolving.
Absolutely. As long as we're alive, we're supposed to be. I think that's such a wonderful thing I'm realizing about this time that we're living in. You mentioned that you've had clients in their 70s and 80s, and so have I. And I would have never imagined when I first started the work I do in the world that I would have had people so significantly older than me, even older than my mother, because they are in the place where I'm still alive and there's still work to be done, right? And they're not seeing it as a bad thing or something to run from. They're curious.
That's right. And I think they come to a point of, they know there's more. They know they're, like you said in the beginning, they know they're meant for more. They know there's something else. I just finished working with a woman, 72. She'd been meditating 55, be 56 years now. 56
lovely.
years she's meditated. Me only 32, so who am I to help her? She was looking for spiritual growth and more of a sense of purpose. She's like, I just somehow know I'm meant for more. And she was looking for freedom. And she got everything she was looking for and more and more. And it's only because, and these people inspire me. They inspire me so much. And she just needed the facilitation and a little bit of healing, a little bit to clear these blocks, and then help her expand and open up. And she discovered everything she was looking for within herself.
Wonderful.
And I taught her other practices, and it's just so rewarding. And so these women, it's, you're so bang on when you say you're meant for more, and it's true. And so people, especially women, are not giving up now. And men, I do work with some men, but they don't go, it used to be like, I'm 64, I'm going to be 65. And people used to definitely retire at this age.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going, well, if my business stays the way it is, if things keep going this way, I'm going to work till I'm 70, which a couple years ago I was kind of like, might be nice to retire. But now I'm like, no, this is just too good. It's just too good. So
I'm right there with you. I actually thought when I was 30, because I entered the federal government, I was working in the federal government, and they have and I was in law enforcement, so you only had a certain number of years you were going to be allowed to work in law enforcement. This is the year that I was slated to retire. age 55. And I cannot even imagine right now retiring. I'm like, wait, what? I would never, like, I'm so excited for what is to come.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. And this woman, at the age of 72, I helped her learn for herself that purpose is not so much about what we do. It's who we are. It's our presence. It's a state. Purpose is a state. So I'm not worried. Let's say I decided for whatever reason next year to retire, to not practice anymore. I'm still in alignment with purpose because it's a vibration. It's a vibration. It's what we radiate. We are all in purpose.
Yes.
And it's embracing that and allowing it to unfold the way it's meant to.
Beautifully said. So what comes to me is that the work that you're doing with these women is at the intersection of energy, emotional healing, and identity.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great way to say it. Thank you, Shervon. Thank you.
It's like,
And
it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Really beautiful work. Wonderful. Oh, I love it. I love it. All right. So for a lot of people, their work on themselves, whether it's therapy or spiritual work, plateaus, right? We always think about, especially now, we're at the beginning of the year still, and people are exercising, they're, trying to change their diet, they're getting ready for spring and summer, and weight loss will, for a lot of people, plateau at some point. And so when you're working with people, does that come up at all?
With them or with myself?
Yeah.
With them?
With just, with them, getting to a place where it's almost like, I envision it as onion layers, right? We do some work on ourselves, we peel back some onion layers, we get to a certain point, it may plateau, we go off and we do something else until something else in our lives signals more expansion, and you go back to that onion, right?
Yes, and there is a very special time that we go through, and this is I've learned and agree with this. There's only one true dark night of the soul that we really go through in our lives, and it comes. So I'm so glad you agree, and it comes when we become an expert at something, and it's often in career. We've done something long enough that we become an expert in our own unique way, and there comes a time of unlearning, of dismantling, of allowing and surrender. And so I often get women, especially in their careers, where they've hit that. And nothing is as fulfilling. Nothing is as fulfilling. And it's sort of a dismantling. And we don't, especially in North America, we are so conditioned to push and to express and to do and to approach and hustle and all of that. And it really is a time of surrender and allowing that we have to let go of everything we've learned to allow for something new to be born.
Absolutely.
It's often accompanied with relationship loss, financial loss, job loss, some sort of a breakdown, health, strong health issues. And it's about, and this is, I get so many people in this place, and it's about helping them move into unity consciousness. So the world becomes so different, and they're vibrating at a much higher level, and then their environments, the relationships around them, all shift to match where they're at. So it's a big change in one's life, and we all have to go. And the whole, at the same time, the whole of humanity, we're going through a dismantling. I think you would likely agree. We're going.
Indeed, I do.
And it is time. Everything we've learned, it's like humanity is going through this dark night of the soul so that we can move into unity consciousness, that next level of being, and what a cool time. Like, I'm so grateful to my soul that I signed up to be alive at this time. Let's have a
Yes.
party over that. It is amazing, and
Yep.
we are in this time of unlearning, folks.
We
And
really are.
it's either you're gonna get on the bandwagon or you're not. And if you're not, there could be a lot of really harsh awakenings. We're
Yes.
all awakening whether we like it or not. And so to just keep saying yes, yes, I don't know. Just allow. Know that you're shifting. Know that there's a higher power helping you transform. Surrender. Allow. Open up. And amazing things will happen.
It does, and it will. So true. And I think that's also where people sometimes get caught in fear or trapped in fear, because this idea of surrendering and allowing is so new to their way of being. They're just like trying to dig their heels in and like just slow down the horse. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it makes it harder for you.
It makes it really hard. And where that comes from, I find that so many of my clients between the age of 2 and 3, at the latest 4, they learn that the people around them can't handle life. They're not trustworthy. So they have to take care of things at that
Yeah.
early age. And they learn to be controlling. So so many of us think, that's been my thing too. We have to control our environments, control the people
Yes.
around us, be the one in
Yep.
charge. So to go to the opposite end of the spectrum is a challenge if you haven't done the work. So that's why
Yeah.
it's important to release those emotions so that we can learn to settle in and surrender and allow and just say yes. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do joke sometimes that I'm a recovering perfectionist. I used to have everything just so, even in my physical space. And I've gotten a lot better. Still have some ways to go, I would say. But yeah, but that was a well-learned lesson from my early childhood, for sure.
I hear you. I hear you fully.
Yeah, yeah. Ooh. So the work then is gently helping people access parts of their minds that they could not access before, freeing themselves so that they can have a greater impact and a bigger life than they ever imagined that they could.
Yes,
So
that's
where does desire come in? I'm wondering, because when people have these blockages in their minds, I know that they're living life in a more limited way, right? In a smaller way than they were actually designed. One of the people that I love to follow his work is Greg Braden. And I watched a video earlier this week that talked about the research that was done, some of it at the late 1800s, mid 1900s, and then early 2000s. So there was this kind of ongoing curiosity about what is now often called the quantum field, but in 1800s they called it the ether. And how we, based on our DNA, are always in contact with the quantum field, and basically we create our own reality. And oftentimes with trauma, people stop dreaming. They stop allowing themselves to desire. And so where does desire and dreaming come in your work with people?
Well, to me, it's a little bit complex. Sometimes what we think we desire is it's based in wanting to feel better. We think we desire the ice cream cone. Every
Right.
day at 6 o'clock, we want that ice cream cone. When in actuality, we just want to feel a certain way. And so I know earlier in my life, I had a hard time imagining who and what and where and when, how I wanted to live my life, what I wanted to become because of the traumas, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and what works for me is how do I want to feel? How do I want to feel? So
Yes.
it's the emotions and it's going inward to find our deepest desires. So it sort of it reminds me of I had traveled once for 20 months through every country in South America, parts of
Oh,
Central
wow.
America, and Africa, 5 countries in Africa. And I came back and I got a temporary place to live, but then I needed something else and I wasn't quite ready to buy, and I thought I'll rent. And so I went inward, and it's like, what do I want? How do I want to feel? How do I want to feel in my new home? And immediately I felt myself up high, like up high in the trees, kind of thing, and like an eagle. And I had studied and practiced shamanism before, and had not been working in that regard so much, but it was like that, and that I could see a body of water. So I was up high, and so then I started searching listings. I wanted something up high that I would feel like I'm up in the trees and I'm looking down on water. And I had a budget. I hadn't worked for two years, and
Right.
so I have this budget, and there's all these pictures and these listings and everything, but I knew what that felt like. And it wasn't the words so much, it's how it felt. And this is a long, long time ago. So I'm looking at all these listings online, and I'm thinking, sometimes people build these suites above a garage. And
Oh,
and I
yeah.
and I would want a vaulted ceiling. I would want high ceilings with lots of light. So there was this one listing without any pictures in it. And I'm like, well, what are the chances I'm going to like it? I still haven't seen anything that suits my description, but I thought I would write the person. So I wrote, and I received a response, and it wasn't all that far away from where I was staying. So I went and looked. It was overlooking a body of water. It had the vaulted ceilings. It had all the light. It was so high up. It was like living in the trees. And I
Nice.
was like, sold. I'll take it. But yeah, and then this is the cool part of the story. So that would have been 2009, so a while ago. And I just had my human design read. I exchanged with this other woman. I did a chakra reading for her, a business chakra reading, and she read my human design in a way that nobody had. And she came upon this, and she said, with your human design as a generator, you must like to live up high, and you would like to be near water. And I'm like, and
Oh, my goodness.
bright, airy and bright. So like high ceilings, I'm like, boy, you're bang on. But the point is, the desire is within. The
Yeah.
desire already exists. It's discovering the
What it
desire,
is. Yes.
discovering the true desire of your soul, the
Yeah.
true desire of your being, and how you want to feel in
There
the
you
world,
go.
how you want to be. It's about being and becoming. And so those are the types of homes I resonate most with. And one time I ended up, I bought a float home on the water, and
Ah.
in Victoria's Inner Harbor, and I added a second floor so I would have that feeling of being up high.
Mm-hmm.
So desire comes from a deep place within, and must be attended to, must be honored, and we need the surrender and allowing, because as soon as we try and force it, it's like, just allow it to come to you. It will come, and then you recognize when your desire is fulfilled, and it's just such a joyful experience.
Beautiful. That sounds very joyful. And much more easeful. Once they've cleared what needs to be cleared, it's almost like it just kind of floats to the surface or emerges in this wonderful way.
Well, exactly. And we have to get rid of the blocks that are in the way, that, what I call the four subconscious beliefs that get in our way are: I'm unworthy, I'm not enough, I don't matter, I'm not lovable, right?
Yeah.
So if we think we don't matter, then it means our needs don't matter. And if our need is to have a home in a certain way or to live a certain, if we have that block, we
Yeah.
can't allow the desire to come
Yeah.
because we don't see it as possible. We need to first see, we first need to believe and feel that somehow it's possible.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And in doing so, there's an embodiment that can then happen for ourselves as we let go of what we no longer need to hold on to. And we can step into a more authentic version of ourselves,
That's
a more
correct.
embodied version of ourselves. Or as a friend of mine said the other day, she reads from a standpoint of guardian dragons, and we were talking about the innate power that we all actually have, that we all came into this world, but somehow we are no longer aware of. And we need to uncover and rediscover what our innate power is, or our authentic power is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that she looks at it from guardian dragons. I love dragons. I used to, work with dragons, so to speak, in the ethers. It just came. I used to have these dragons, or just dragon symbology, just a symbolism of dragons.
Exactly, exactly. I love it. I told her when she shared that that's the work that she was stepping more into, and I said to her, I said, there's always been this belief in the back of my mind that dragons have always existed. It's just they exist on a different plane, and maybe at a different time, what we would consider a linear time. But I think they've always existed. She said, I think you're absolutely right. So it's not just a myth. I think all of our mythologies probably have a little root in truth, or a lot
Absolutely.
of root in
Absolutely.
truth. Nice. What would you say true power looks like beyond striving, effort, even self-improvement?
True power is, to me, being in alignment with the truth of who you really are. It's being in alignment with that. It's a sense of ease and actually grace. True power is very peaceful. I for some time, and I will do them again this year. I stopped for a while. Would do group energy healing sessions, and so women would
Oh,
write in
nice.
the chat, and they would lay down, but I'd have them write in the chat their intentions, and I would often do them on power, and authentic power, and then I would teach a bit, lead a little meditation, and then their intentions would change. But then I would help them clear their blocks to their authentic power. And then when they would reach a place of power, when they discovered their innate power, it was never what they thought. It was always peaceful. It's always a true power. Sort of like, I think of it as you walk in the room and it's the person sitting in the corner not speaking,
Yes.
and they're being. They
Yes.
just are, and they're relaxed, and they're the
Yep.
one with all the power, with the most power. So it's where we're all heading. So authentic power is you're in your inner knowing. You don't have to explain anything. You are who you are. You're present, and you see the good and the bad, and the bad and the good, and you're very peaceful, loving, and kind, and you're present, and you're vibrating with freedom, with peace, and allowing others to be who they are.
Beautifully said. I think we'll end there. We'll wrap it up there. Oh my. Cheryl, thank you so much for joining me today. Such
It is.
such a
It's just
good
been
conversation.
such an honor, Shervon. Seriously, such an honor.
Thank you, thank you. This was beautiful conversation. This is one of the ones that I will play back for myself. I don't always watch back all of my episodes, but this one, yeah. I will watch it back. Where can people reach out and connect with you if they would like?
Well, I think the easiest thing will, if we can put in the show notes, my 3 meditations, my 3 powerful meditations, if they want to learn how to access the subconscious, that's really the easiest way.
Okay.
Or they can, I'm taking a hiatus from social media right now, but I
I hear
have,
you.
I have been on, Instagram and LinkedIn. But the best place really to find me, if you're serious about your own inner work, really just click that link and try the meditations and see what happens. Just try it as an experiment and say yes. Take that one step forward, and then you'll be able to reach out to me that way.
Okay, perfect. I'll make sure they're in the show notes. For sure. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And for the audience today, if this conversation resonated for you, then let this be an invitation rather than trying to be a problem-solving kind of thing, right? Let it just be an invitation to stop pushing harder and start listening more deeply. True transformation does not come from forcing change, but from clearing what no longer needs to be there to protect you. And so if you have found this episode valuable, I also invite you to subscribe on whatever channel or platform that you're listening or watching the Expansion Room. And if you would like to extend this conversation, join us in the Expansion Room community on the Circle platform. We have conversations similar to this, and we'll probably bring this conversation right into the platform to have some more dialogue around this. So join us there on Circle. Just type in the Expansion Room on the Circle app, and you'll find us there. And until next time, allow yourself to continue to make space for yourself and for your growth and for your expansion.